All right, so let's first talk about what was the political cartoon that Professor used.
I wasn't there on Tuesday, so I don't remember.
Watch the lecture, it's online.
Oh yeah, no, I probably should have done that. No, I was gonna watch it tonight, but
Well, everybody but trainer, look in your
yeah,
notes.
I don't remember. I can do it right now. Open up the thing. Blackboard, yo. Log in.
Cartoons about Trump saying that by not paying taxes, it makes him smart.
Oh, yeah.
Could you say that a bit louder? I didn't hear you.
The cartoon was like a TV screen of Hillary reflecting their debate, and Trump was like saying, "Not paying taxes makes me smart."
Oh, yes. And so, what was the point of the political cartoon?
That it's the fact that tax evasion is still illegal, but he fesses up to it and makes him look like a worse person for it. It's kind of weird.
Yeah, because
Sorry, go ahead.
well, I mean,
I was saying, sorry. I was kind of saying it brings up like the double standards when it comes to politicians.
so you think, so can you explain that a bit more? What double standard are they pulling?
Well, a double standard would be, say, like, the easiest way to explain this would be a rule set by your parents that it's basically showing hypocrisy. Like, your parents just say, don't drink and drive, and when they're drinking alcohol at a party and then they drive home. So it's not fair to the person, but it's not necessarily, like, it doesn't have to be fair because the other person's a person of authority. So it's still a double standard. It's still a negative aspect.
What double standard do you think that they're applying to the politicians?
The double standard, sorry, I'm still trying to figure it out on my computer, but the double standard that we talked about in lecture was how he's for expanding like army. I mean, he's for expanding the military, and he's for like veterans, like funding for veterans, but that's all comes out of federal tax, and he hasn't paid federal taxes.
Yeah, that was the point that the professor was making. I was just kind of curious what Trainer was meaning by the double standard that he was applying. It seems like he was implying that there was a double standard that we were putting on Trump by condemning him for
not just on Trump. It's like previous points that were brought up by some of my family earlier on in the year was that like Bernie Sanders is like a draft dodger or something, because like that's a lot of the question that came beforehand with people that lived during the Vietnam War and who were students during the Vietnam War, especially the students in like Berkeley per se, very liberal.
Well, I mean, Trump himself actually is a draft dodger.
Yeah, similar story.
So if we're not gonna hold Bernie or Trump for it, then
yeah. But that's my point. There is like it's just depending on the era, it's different things. Like, people who have money and wealth and power don't really have to follow by other people's standards.
And like Ethan was saying, it's also hypocritical of Trump to say, "Oh, I don't pay taxes and stuff like that, and that makes me smart," and then say, "Oh, but I want to do all this military expansion. I want to build a wall and stuff like that." That doesn't correlate because you need taxes to pay for those programs.
Pretty much.
So after we looked at the cartoon, what did we talk about?
I remember it was like the readings that we did were on the First Amendment. I know the quiz was on the First Amendment, or partially on the First Amendment as well, because it had to do with like free exercise and free establishment clause and free exercise clause.
Yeah,
I
but we
don't
did
know if
talk
that's
about
what you
that
guys
during lecture.
about.
Yes. So, what did we talk about during lecture?
I remember him mentioning that
Did you speak up, Angela?
sorry,
Angelina, sorry.
I guess my speaker's not picking up, but Trump doesn't pay taxes and then he receives 885 million in tax breaks in New York.
And so that was very ironic that somebody who was getting all these tax breaks and everything.
He still didn't want to pay taxes.
Even though the reason why he didn't pay taxes is kind of what contributes to his wanting to not pay taxes. Yeah, that's okay.
Well, I mean, as business owners go, a lot of them do. Not a lot of them. That's overgeneralization, but they'll try to cut money wherever they can, spending wherever they can. Even my grandparents who own like a small restaurant, they used to like put money under like the table, kind of, and not pay taxes all directly. It happens. I'm sure every business owner can say they've done it before, like money laundering, but not to the degree of Trump, per se. Like, you're not Al Capone. You're not going to get arrested for it, like for tax evasion. Let's go with that.
Yeah, and the fact that he's kind of getting subsidies and stuff like that. It's more the government is helping him not pay these taxes. And why did let's say the city of New York not tax Trump as much as another person that was building business there?
Because it's on a bracket system. The federal taxes are currently on a bracket, like, right, based on your pay. But if you keep going like linearly with that degree, by the time you're a billionaire, they're taking amounts that are like ridiculous, are to the point of extremities that like shouldn't. It would seem outrageous to the normal person. Like, if you would say even at like 1%, it would be like $10 million. It's like, that's a ridiculous amount of tax for one single business owner.
But if they're making billions,
yeah, that would.
Then it's a percentage.
Yeah, it really does depend on that. Depends on the net income or the net worth of a person, and it's just other components that are like kind of arguable. I don't know.
But what the professor was saying was that the city gave him subsidies and tax breaks because he brought business and I think it was a Trump Tower in New York. And so it's generating revenue in the city. So they say, okay, hey, because you're doing this thing to generate revenue, we're going to cut your taxes so it'll be easier for you to go in and build your tower. Will generate revenue. It's the same thing as the Sacramento Kings. Does anybody remember from the lecture what we talked about as far as the Sacramento Kings? Remember?
Isn't it how they afford the arena? It's because it gets subsidies for entertainment and stuff like that. I know that a lot of like coaches. I know that a lot of coaches receive some kind of money from like either the city, because that's kind of the reason why they want to move from city to city. That reason as well, because they get paid more, because they are a business again. So, I know,
wasn't it a bit like bribery that they kind of like?
It's legal bribery.
Yeah,
legal bribery. It's hilarious.
Yeah, definitely, because it's like, hey, okay, if we want you guys to stay, we're going to give you subsidies on your new arena, so you're more willing to stay here than go to another city where they'll build you a new arena or give you an old one. Or
Yeah.
something. We're like, here,
Yeah.
it's nice and shiny.
Mr. Friedman made the point that it's kind of a trade-off, because if they pay, it's kind of bad that they're using taxpayer money to pay for basketball players, but at the same time, that brings in so many tourists who are buying things from local businesses, restaurants, hotels, gift shops, all that stuff. It brings it in as much as it takes it out to a certain degree. So the positives are pretty much equal with the negatives. So
Yeah, I mean, that is actually the theory of these subsidies and the revenue, but oftentimes that is not, the theory isn't put into practice. And the thing that we use to bribe often costs us more than the revenue is generating. Which is sad to say because, I mean, in theory, it sounds like a really good idea. Like, this benefits both the government and businesses, but unfortunately, we have I think we actually ended our lecture kind of around there, because then we went on to the insights, didn't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, with Connor.
yeah.
Okay. So Emily actually has a couple questions on the lecture that I want to go over. So her first question was, why didn't Clinton bring up how Trump is trying to get companies back into America to create jobs, but he has many of his products made in Mexico, China, and Bangladesh? And I'm going to leave this, I'm going to leave it mostly open. Trainer, you've talked a lot already, so I'm going to open it up to everyone else. Why do you, sorry, go.
Well, kind of to elaborate on it, I read a news article about why he had people in Mexico working the textiles. He said, oh, but they don't even do that here in America anymore. And they gave him an example, and he's like, I've never heard of that. They don't do that here anymore. And there's tons of textile factories in the United States. He's just not taking advantage of it.
There's one in Sacramento.
Yeah.
There's one in Sacramento. It's downtown.
Yeah, there you go.
And so, if he's doing this, why do you think he's telling voters that he's going to be trying to bring things back to America?
Because it sounds good.
Yep, exactly. It sounds good. It sounds like he's creating jobs and he's bringing in revenue. He's the greatest businessman there ever was to business.
Probably the greatest con man, too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, going back, can you repeat the question real quick?
Yeah, so Emily was wondering why Trump says that he wants to bring jobs back to America, specifically in factories, and even though his products are being made over in China, Mexico, and Bangladesh.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Yeah, because for a long time, those Make America Great baseball caps were being made in China.
Yeah.
Somebody
The
pointed
irony
out
is
and called
real.
him out on it. And then he was like, oh, wait, no. I'm going to make these in America now. So I'm probably actually doing the Trump by doing this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It makes people who talk with their hands look bad.
Gesticulations, yo. Gesticulations.
All right. So I feel like that kind of answered that question. The next question was, why can't there be a separate set of debates for the next two runners-up for the seat of the President of the United States? So, like, say, I assume she's meaning that we have a Clinton-Trump debate, and then we have Gary Johnson and who's the other person?
Exactly.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
We talked about it in our philosophy class. I can't remember her name.
Oh, it's a girl? Huh.
I think so.
Maybe it's Rosie again. I mean,
I don't know.
it's Trump
Yeah.
running, so maybe, get that.
I think that it could just be because it's national tradition. Like it's once candidates are elected by your party, it's kind of like set in stone, and then there could be a third party. But usually it's not 4 people running. I know that historically speaking, it's usually down to the when it gets down to the wire, it's usually always down to either 2 or 3. There has been like very rare times where like even in like say late October there has been 3, but most of the time it is down to 2 at that time. Like you're like, oh, you're down to the wire. So that's usually why it's a national tradition.
Yeah, because even though we have lots of different parties in the United States, we're mainly a 2-party system because they cover the majorities. And that's why those 2 are being televised, because it reaches the greatest number of people and constituents, rather than paying for something that is only interesting to a few. And so, I mean, yes, it would be better to, I mean, in some ways it would be better to have both, I guess, to see what the third parties are saying. But at the same time, that leads to vote splitting increasing, and it will really distract people, and actually or it'll either distract them or be pointless.
Well, it's also the funny thing where if you look at how like the Brexit happened, it was because of the fact that there were so many parties in the British system that they ended up splitting by minority, and the minority became the majority because there was so much splitting there. Like I think that's the point that she's also Vanessa's trying to make. Because
that's kind of, but I wouldn't say I don't want to bring British politics into it.
Yeah, no, that's not. I wanted to show that as an example.
Yeah, because actually their party systems are kind of different in our way, because we're more about candidates and they're more about the party itself.
Yeah.
So that's just a whole difference that. But yeah, so by splitting the vote, I mean, historically, it means that, let's say, okay, well, let me give you a historical example. So in the kind of mid-20s or so, President Taft was running for re-election. And and then he had somebody on the Democrat side that was opposing him. Then Teddy Roosevelt, who had already been the president for 2 terms, I think, decided that, hey, I want to run again, because this was before we got to the 2-term limit for presidents, because that happened with Theodore Roosevelt. But so Teddy was like, hey, I want to be president again. So I'm going to make up my own party, because everybody else is voting for Taft. So I'm going to make the Bull Moose Party, and everybody's going to vote for me, and it's going to be great. What happened was that by creating that party, he split the Republican vote between him and Taft. And so the Democrat won. And so that's something that could happen with this election. Let's say if a bunch of libertarians who might have voted for Trump decide that they want to vote for Gary Johnson, the independent candidate, then that would split Trump's vote, and so he would have less people voting for him, and it would be easier for Hillary to win. So that's kind of a long-winded explanation of why we don't have multiple debates besides just between our 2 main candidates for the president of the United States. Okay, so do you guys feel comfortable with the content of the lecture? Prepared for tomorrow's quiz?
Or test.
Test, yeah. I call them the same thing.
Yeah.
But
did Mr. Friedman ever bring up the election of I think it was I can't remember the date. It was the during. Did you ever bring up like the Populist Party, the election of 1896? Or,
No.
No, we
I
never
don't think
talked
so.
about that. Yeah.
it's a similar kind of debate to what's going on today, I guess. In that sense, where we were talking earlier about like the third party being a major constituency rather than like just a side thought, because the Populist Party became a major candidate for presidency. So if you have the time, you may want to like look that up or something. Also, for anybody watching this later on YouTube, notes.
Yeah, and I want to make a quick note for all of you. If you're not going to call Professor Friedman Professor, call him Doctor.
Okay.
It's not a Mister. He has earned his doctorate. Give him that respect.
Okay.
Yikes.
Yeah. I mean, this is something that, like, I know if you're a freshman and stuff like that, you don't know, because all of your teachers in high schools, they most likely don't have a doctorate, and they go by Mr. or Mrs. or Miss. So, just a little. Yes, Emily?
So is this just a general rule? If you don't know their degree level, can you just call all of your professors professor?
Yep, that's what I do.
Okay. Awesome. Good.
I call them
Yeah.
all by professor.
Yep.
It's the easiest way.
I just have to say something. I just looked it up, and the person who's running for Green Party is Jill Stein.
Oh, okay. So we have Gary and Jill.
Yeah.
Hmm.
All right. And so I want to actually answer quickly a question about the larger lecture and like the different sections, because Emily had a question about the web section of the class. So she asked what the difference between the studio and the web section is. And the difference is that you are online and you don't have to show up to class, and you take your quizzes and tests through Blackboard. You don't, you do, and importantly, you do quizzes and tests, both.
Okay, so like the Tuesday and the Thursday, same thing basically.
Uh-huh.
Pretty much.
Would they have like a time limit, kind of like, oh, you have to do Tuesday by midnight, or like
Yep.
it's only open from one day to the same day? Like,
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Okay.
and I can't remember exactly what those times are because Professor Friedman does the whole web section.
yeah.
But I'm sure if you emailed him saying, hey, I want to be in the web section, then that you could also ask, wait, what time are the quizzes due?
Yeah, because obviously you don't want the web kids having all the answers to the questions so the other kids can study, like giving it the answers away. And you don't want the web kids submitting it way after class ended and they could talk to somebody else. So
I think I think Professor Freeman generalized this and said that like the online tests and quizzes are more difficult because you do have that note option. So,
yeah, but it is open book. So I mean,
yeah.
Exactly.
I'm a web student, so I think the exams are open on Friday and then they close on Tuesday morning, like at 8 a.m. before class. And what I've seen difficult with the exam is not that they're harder, it's just, I mean, you have to do the work, you have to read. And I mean, it's not like he's giving you like a question that's not on what we just read or the lecture. So that's, so, you know, it's not as hard as he made it seem. I mean, I did notice that you guys have like options to do one or the other and stuff like that, which, I mean, I think that's cool. But I've also noticed that when I'm taking the exams, the time goes by so fast and it's so harder to type. So sometimes I don't even get to finish like what I want to write.
I feel the same though.
I'd rather handwrite them because it's
I miss handwriting. Yeah, I miss handwriting. My hand hurts. Like sometimes I can't write as fast as I can type. So like I have an idea and I'm like writing it down as fast as I can and like time's up and I'm still writing when he walks by and I like hand it to him after I'm done writing. Like I take the last 3 seconds to keep writing.
Yeah.
Horrible. How much time do the web students have to complete the test? Like is there a time limit on it from when you start it?
5 minutes, like you guys.
5? Oh, that's right. Okay, I was gonna say 5 minutes, but that's normal.
Sometimes
But
it's
I
not
mean,
even
at
5
least
minutes. Like,
you
call.
guys have.
What were you saying, Elizabeth?
I said that I feel like you guys have like an advantage in it because like when your 5 minutes are done, you guys still have like time to like write, and when our 5 minutes are done, it's like it shuts off, and I'm just like, no, I didn't get to finish, or like I misspelled something, or like I don't know, I misspell a lot of words in there because I'm just typing and I'm not good at typing. So
Yeah.
that's an advantage to me. When it
Yeah.
comes
And actually, studies have shown that if you take notes by handwriting, you retain the information a lot better than if you would by typing, because it's just in one ear, one out the other, essentially.
Yeah, being on the web doesn't mean you type everything, though. Like, you still take notes on the readings, you still take notes on the lectures if you decide to watch them.
Exactly.
Actually, it is a good idea. It's not required, but it is a good idea for web to actually watch the lectures anyways.
Oh, yeah.
You know? You can skip over the parts where they're just talking about little stuff, you know what I mean? Like 20 minutes of talking about Trump's hair or something like that. Like, you could skip that, you know? So.
Definitely.
And you can skip the dozing off in the morning, like falling asleep in your chair.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I remember when I took the class. Oh, okay. So I would usually stay up till 2 doing the readings because I would start at like 9, like a smart person. And so and then I had the 8 o'clock adjunct time, and so I had like 6 hours of sleep or so if I was lucky.
Yeah.
I fell asleep so many times in that class.
I've seen people falling asleep in there, so if I switch to web, that'll be different.
Yeah, I think Colin was sleeping yesterday.
I didn't want to say anything, but he was. He almost fell out of his chair, like, completely. Like, I watched him. Like, I kind of wanted to say something to him, but I wasn't really sure what to say, so I just kept my mouth shut. I didn't want to embarrass him or anything.
Yeah.
You don't do that, because everybody's going to end up doing that at some point in this class.
Exactly. If you call him out, he'll call you out.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's just the thing where we have two very, like, difficult, not difficult as in, like, course-wise, but difficult as in lecture-wise classes at the same day. So, like, Hernandez and then Friedman, and both of them are very lecture-heavy classes, and you're like, just let this be over, please. Just please let it be over. Like,
is Hernandez your criminal justice professor?
Yep.
Yeah.
It is like an hour and 30 minutes of anecdotes. I'm like, God damn it.
Ooh. Well, hey, at least you're not, like, currently writing.
He actually, like, lectures straight off of his PowerPoint thing, which is supposed to be posted online somewhere. I just haven't found it. So.
Yeah.
I found them. They're on his, they're just on there on the PowerPoint. You just click PowerPoint. Like, it's just a button. Yeah, so it's not the class isn't difficult. It's just the amount of talking, and sometimes it is just blurb. Like,
blah blah blah.
I've realized that it does repeat a lot because he's mentioned going to the freaking Thailand like 4 times now, I think. And
when teachers go places, they talk about it a lot.
Yeah, he mentioned that 4 times now, and he mentions like. I understand if he mentions like the precinct that he like in what was that
work
place?
and everything.
Yeah, it was like the city had a similar name to like a big city. I can't remember. Like, it's a small SoCal city, but it has the same name as a larger eastern city. I can't remember what it's called. But yeah, he mentions that a lot too. It's kind of weird.
Yeah, and Friedman is kind of like that too. He likes going on to tangents and going on to stories and stuff like that. And it's kind of hard to determine, okay, is this information I need to write down and know for class?
I don't really understand personal anecdotes, but I'd rather have anecdotes than just plain this and that. Like, oh, this is a presidential debate. Like, it's been held for so and so, and this is a caucus, and sometimes they have. Like the Republican Party would do caucuses, and the Democratic Party would do, conventions, or national conventions, blah, 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 and it just keeps going. But I'd rather have somebody say, like, well, during this election this year, Hillary said this and Trump said that. You know, I'd rather have that kind of anecdotal than just.
Yeah, actual real life examples are so helpful, which is
Yeah.
why you guys are really lucky that you're taking your Gov1 class when we're doing an election.
Yeah.
I mean, the examples are all there and they're making themselves, so it's really cool. And you know, speaking on notes, I actually kind of want to show you guys some different ways on note taking that might be helpful in this class.
Oh, is it like Cornell notes? They're not Cornell.
No.
They're not Cornell notes, are they? God,
We already learned those.
I don't.
Sadly, the first one is Cornell notes.
God damn it!
There are multiple. I swear.
I hate Cornell notes. They take so much time and they look nice, but it takes me like 3 hours to do them. It's stupid.
It's funny. I personally do kind of quick Cornell notes where I don't do the summary because I'm just like,
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no.
whatever.
Our teacher made us do the summary and it would take me like 3 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I hate it.
Why?
But I mean, for what I do, and maybe just a way to kind of show you, let me just really quickly show you guys how I do my Cornell notes, because they might actually be a good alternative, and then we'll go on to the other ones as well. Okay. So let's pretend that this is our notebook. So new column right here, and for Professor Friedman's class, I would say just make subject lines. Like if you know that these are things that we're going to go over, like current event, if I can spell. And then on the side right here, you would just write everything that has to do with that current event. And then I would say make one for lecture topic and specify what it is. And then make a third one for insights. Those are pretty much the three basic sections that we go through in each class. And I asked you about them during this Wednesday class. Sorry, my brain is still on the Tuesday, Thursday agenda. So yeah, I mean, as Emily and Trader said, they already know this method, but some of you, it might be useful. You don't know about it.
Yeah.
So
It's a situational thing.
what were you saying, Trader?
I said it's a situational thing. Cornell notes are really situational. I just don't like to care for myself. Oh.
Yeah, and I mean, and also it depends on what lecture you're listening to, because different lecturers are going to give you different information, and you're going to want to organize it differently. So, text box, mouse. Okay, things are being stupid, so I'm still learning this. Okay. Oh, well, that's cool.
What?
That's carried over. So.
Lag is real. Lag is real.
Okay. Mouse. Oh. That would be good to erase too. Sorry. All right. So we kind of went over Cornell method. I'm also there's also a link to this page on the website on the SAC-C2 under study tools. So if you want to go back and actually read through, then you have that opportunity. So let's talk about the outline method. Does anybody use the outline method? Nope. Well, the outline method is really similar to the Cornell method, and a lot of kind of social science professors use this outline to put up their lecture on the board, so they follow that outline as they lecture. And it's just basically indentations using different numeral types. Like, let's say all of your big points are under the capital letter alphabet. And then the subpoints would be Roman numerals. And then the subpoints of the subpoints would be little letters. Does that make sense to everybody?
Yeah, I've used that before. That's my standard note taking. I just didn't realize it was called that.
Yeah. And so, I mean, the advantages are that it's a well-organized system if done right, but the disadvantage is that it requires more thought in class for accurate organization. So, you practice by organizing your notes rather than just listing it. But if your professor does do an outline, it is good to just copy it down and then fill in the blanks using this method.
Yep.
Here's an example of what it would be. Okay, so let's talk about the mapping method.
Oh, dude, mind maps.
Really good.
God, I hate mind maps. Mind maps are interesting, actually.
Well,
They're really good for creative types. If you like collecting things.
if you're a visual learner, you work better by seeing things drawn out. This is a really good method of note taking because you kind of just write your big point and then map out all the little connections and everything. And it could get kind of complicated depending on how you do your maps. It might be more of a spider web than a map, but if you can understand it, that is the most important thing.
More power to you.
I want you guys to write notes that you can understand and you can go back and gain things from. Because every Thursday, I'm going to be asking you what was on the lecture. So it's really good to hone these skills. So here's a method called the charting method. I actually hadn't heard about this method until today. So this method determines the categories to be covered in lecture, and you set up your paper in by columns headed by these categories. And as you listen to the lecture, you just put information into the appropriate category. So this is really good for history classes, or even if you're reading the Ginsburg text to write down. Just be like, oh, hey, what's this concept? Why is it important? What's the relevancy of it? And so this is just another alternative for you guys to use. Oh, Jay. I'm sorry, did somebody say something?
Some stuff.
Okay.
It's probably my mom talking.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So, I don't know, I think this is kind of cool and new, but, and so if, for you guys who are going to take 17B or 17A, use this, because you're going to be hit with lots of periods, lots of important people, events, and their significance in that class. And then there's the good old sentence method, where you just write down every new thought, fact, or topic on a separate line, and then numbering as you progress. So just new thought, new line. Yes, Emily?
I use something similar to that. Basically, I just make bullet points, and if there's like different headings and stuff, like Article 1, section ABC, then I do like a large black bullet point, and then like 3 little hollow bullet points, or like stars or something like that. Like I don't organize them or anything. I just make different bullet points, and I might like indent them a little bit off the side of the page, but that's it. Like that works really well for me. That's always worked for my study habit.
Yeah, because then it kind of it gives you another tool of organization by using those shapes and everything, and just separation of ideas keeps them together. What method do you use, trainer? You're
I
muted.
usually, yeah, I accidentally muted myself. I use the what's it called, the dot, the indentation one. Can't remember what it's called.
The outline one, yeah.
The outline one, yeah, because that's the one I'm most used to. So we did in our world history class and U.S. history and Gov at high school. So
Yeah, and then also colorful pens are really helpful, I find. But that's also because I'm a very visual learner.
yeah.
Actually, in a couple days, I'm going to send out a little quiz on how to figure out what your kind of learning style is. And then I'd like to go over it with you guys so that maybe we can kind of come up with some strategies so I can best help you.
Oh, we did that in RTC. That was interesting. Is it like a not 4x4 but like 8x8 little chart? You just, it was like a situational thing, like, oh, in case this situation, yes or no, and like whatever row you got, it turns out or something like that. I don't know.
That would be interesting. If you could give me that material, I'd like to see it.
I can ask my cadre. I think I threw it away when after I got it because like Sergeant Nadiello was like, so do we like turn this in? It was like, no, I don't give a crap. So I was like, okay. So I just like, oh, just threw it away. Shoot.
Fair enough.
I'll ask them if they have another copy or something.
Okay, cool. But yeah, so how about you, Camille? So what method do you use, or do you use a totally different method?
I mostly use Cornell Notes, but without the summary. And then I kind of do like the left side, like after I finish my notes. So.
Oh, interesting. And then that's a good way because, like, if you're just writing and stuff like that, you don't have to worry about the left-hand margin. And then you go back and then you identify the sections.
Key terms.
Yeah. And then also, key terms as well. How about you, Angelina? What do you do?
Basically just write subject and then bullet points underneath. This is like what I was doing for our lecture. So just subject and then just bullets under, and subject, bullets, outline, I guess, kind of ish.
Yeah, definitely. It's kind of like a combination of the outline and the sentence models and stuff like that. And that's cool. How about you, Elizabeth? What do you use?
Playing with the flash drive. What the hell's wrong?
Bullet points. That's just like whatever. I usually just like print out like the slides that professors give, but I mean, Mr. Friedman doesn't do that.
Yeah, Professor Friedman doesn't.
Professor Friedman does. So I usually, sometimes since I'm like a web student, I like writing them down and then writing about them, and then like underlining specific parts he talked about and everything like that. But yeah.
Yeah, and that's kind of the cool thing about being able to go back and look at the recordings of the lectures is that you can stop it and write notes at your own pace.
Yeah.
So how about you, Ethan? How do you do yours?
I wasn't able to actually read the writing because it's on my phone, but by what Trainer and Angelina described, I do a really similar outline style as they do. More so Angelina, because I do like the important heading, then I'll do like subheading if it's something that's more specific, and then definitely bullet points. I don't do actual sentences. I definitely do like heading and bullet points.
Yeah, because sometimes it's really hard to actually get out a full sentence and everything.
Especially in time, if like you're in class and you're going with the slides, it's like you just need to write down what's important and not so much focus on like the actual sentences, like main ideas.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because like, I don't know, I remember myself being really caught up on like what's on the slide and everything, but also realizing, hey, the lecturer is just essentially repeating what is on the slide. So really I should just write down what he's saying instead. So.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I tried to do less PowerPoint and focus more on lecture, like base notes when I'm in class, and then go back and read either text and do better notes that way.
Mm-hmm. Did somebody do the green on?
Oh, sorry. I was messing with the options. I didn't know that was for everyone. It's there's like an annotate option, and I was like, I wonder if I can like underline something. And it's like, oh shit. Well, then I didn't know that everybody saw that. That's kind of weird.
But that's really cool though that you figured that out. That you guys can annotate and stuff like that. So if
Yeah.
you guys, if I'm sharing the screen with you, and there's something that I'm skipping over that you want to go over, draw it. I'll see it, and then I'll be like, okay, I need to talk about this.
Yeah, I didn't know that. Sorry.
Yeah, no, but hey, it's cool. This is, like I said, this is an experimental program. We're learning as we're going. So, yeah, I mean, feel free to explore the options, guys. All right, and so, Lotus, how do you do your notes?
I think I use the same way as Camille. I like doing Cornell notes, just like writing down the topic and then either like writing a few short sentences, or sometimes just like bullet points too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so it's good. Let me rephrase what I was gonna say, because I just glanced at the clock and saw it was 6:50, so I was like, okay, gotta wrap things up. So yeah, there's lots of different ways to do notes and everything, and I hope that this kind of helps you. If not, just to identify what you do and see other options that might help. And so, yeah, and I'll send out that email with the attached learning styles PDF, and it's just a little multiple choice thing, just question and 3 answers, and then you just circle A, B, or C. So, not hard, not quizzing you on anything, just what you do personally. So, all right, I think we shall and conclude the class then, if everybody's good, unless they have any questions on the lecture for the test or anything else that we want to go over.
Freaking insights, but that's a question for another day.
Well, this might be a question that everybody else has. What's your question, Trader?
Oh, I was just wondering if like is for the essay format, is it like a 5 to 6 page essay, or is it like more like a 2 to 3 page essay?
2 to 4.
2 to 4. Okay.
I want to show you.
I was wondering if it was like a term paper or something. I was like, shit, I suck at term papers. But, yeah.
I'm going to quickly show you guys how to find out what you're supposed to do in the essay and the insight. So let's go over to.
Yeah, isn't it on his homepage?
Yep, it's on the homepage. So, okay, so here we are, homepage. Go down, and then guidelines for insights. Click it, and there's this whole page, including the rubric. So,
I was sick, so I turned my insight in like when I wasn't in class, so I didn't present, and he's giving me another chance. But he didn't actually fill out that chart for grading that was at the bottom of the page.
So, I don't know. So I think he probably is going to give you an essay grade for your insight, and then have you do the oral participation that date that he gave you, because you're getting 2 scores as studio students.
Wait, how would I get? Wait, essay what?
So studio students get 2 scores on their insights. One on the essay itself, and another on your oral presentation of it.
Okay, so if I switch to web, which I'm going to do for sure now, do I have to do another insight still? Like?
Yeah, every student has to do 2.
Yeah.
Okay, never mind. That's right. Okay, so I'm not getting a second chance. That's just actually my second insight. Okay, I totally misinterpreted that.
I had a question about because you asked the questions for the class, and I'm actually going tomorrow.
Yeah.
Where do you draw your questions from, so that way I can be ready?
Oh, where I draw my questions from?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't
That's
do
us.
it. He writes all the quiz and test questions.
All right.
Well,
Or,
No, but the ones that you ask in class, do you just ask the ones that are on that are already posted online?
I used a combination. I made
Okay.
my own study guides and stuff like that. Are you on Blackboard yet?
I'm not on your Blackboard.
Okay, so tomorrow I'm gonna be going through and making sure everybody's added to Blackboard and everybody's added to the drive. And we can move on from there.
Perfect.
And then also, I ask that you guys send in a question or comment before the class so I can address it and talk about it with you.
Oh shoot! Sorry about that. I still need to find your email.
Yeah, it's not super required, but it is suggested because I'd like to be able to answer your guys' questions directly.
Okay.
Rather than just kind of guess what you're having questions about.
Yeah, that's true. Oh yeah. So one more question about like my insight specifically, but if you have a lot of like historical anecdotes because your insight has nothing to do with current like government in the United States, because apparently on the fourth it has to do with direct democracy, and we don't have any direct democracy except for like local governments.
So you're going to draw from governing California and source your references.
Yay, state government.
I really want to start sourcing your references and your insights.
I'm like the one insight that has nothing to do with the freaking presidential election. Yay. What the hell?
Only your first one. You have another one to go.
That's hilarious. That's so stupid. Never. I could just bring up Athens or something and how they use direct democracy.
And there's actually there's some articles that he's assigned that will help you write your essay.
Okay, that's good. Well, because the way that a high school teacher did it was like they showed us like an example version of the essay, and then we would like not copy it verbatim, but at least have an idea what it's supposed to look like. It was an example version, so I was like, shit. Well, then I'm just gonna write something.
Well, read this guideline, and I'll try to find my insight from when I took the class.
Okay.
And add that to the SAC-CT page. It's gonna be pretty average, but
it's probably better than mine. That's all I'm gonna say.
I only scored a 45 on it out of 50. So
such garbage. Mine's just such garbage.
It'll be a good example.
Yeah.
So, all right. You guys have any other questions?
Nope.
No.
No.
Alrighty.
See you guys tomorrow.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.
Good luck on your tests, yo. Good luck on your tests.